What is a blockchain? A blockchain is a distributed database or ledger that is shared among the nodes of a computer network. As a database, a blockchain stores information electronically in digital format. A blockchain collects information together in groups, known as blocks, that hold sets of information. Blocks have certain storage capacities and, when filled, are closed and linked to the previously filled block, forming a chain of data known as the blockchain. All new information that follows that freshly added block is compiled into a newly formed block that will then also be added to the chain once filled. Blockchains are best known for their crucial role in cryptocurrency systems, such as Bitcoin, for maintaining a secure and decentralized record of transactions. The innovation with a blockchain is that it guarantees the fidelity and security of a record of data and generates trust without the need for a trusted third party. How does a blockchain work? The goal of blockchain is to allow digital information to be recorded and distributed, but not edited. In this way, a blockchain is the foundation for immutable ledgers, or records of transactions that cannot be altered, deleted, or destroyed. This is why blockchains are also known as a distributed ledger technology, DLT. Let's look at an example. A new transaction is entered. The transaction is then transmitted to a network of peer-to-peer computers scattered across the world. This network of computers then solves equations to confirm the validity of the transaction. Once confirmed to be legitimate transactions, they are clustered together into blocks. These blocks are then chained together, creating a long history of all transactions that are permanent. The transaction is complete. Blockchain decentralization. What a blockchain does is to allow the data held in that database to be spread out among several network nodes at various locations. This not only creates redundancy but also maintains the fidelity of the data stored therein. If somebody tries to alter a record at one instance of the database, the other nodes would not be altered and thus would prevent a bad actor from doing so. If one user tampers with Bitcoin's record of transactions, all other nodes would cross-reference each other and easily pinpoint the node with the incorrect information. This system helps to establish an exact and transparent order of events. This way, no single node within the network can alter information held within it. Transparency. Because of the decentralized nature of Bitcoin's blockchain, all transactions can be transparently viewed by either having a personal node or using blockchain explorers that allow anyone to see transactions occurring live. Each node has its own copy of the chain that gets updated as fresh blocks are confirmed and added. This means that if you wanted to, you could track Bitcoin wherever it goes. The records stored in the Bitcoin blockchain are encrypted. This means that only the owner of a record can decrypt it to reveal their identity. As a result, users of blockchains can remain anonymous while preserving transparency. Is blockchain secure? Blockchain technology achieves decentralized security and trust in several ways. To begin with, new blocks are always stored linearly and chronologically. That is, they are always added to the end of the blockchain. After a block has been added to the end of the blockchain, it is extremely difficult to go back and alter the contents of the block unless a majority of the network has reached a consensus to do so. That's because each block contains its own hash, along with the hash of the block before it, as well as the previously mentioned timestamp. Hash codes are created by a mathematical function that turns digital information into a string of numbers and letters. If that information is edited in any way, then the hash code changes as well. Bitcoin versus blockchain. The Bitcoin protocol is built on a blockchain. In a research paper introducing the digital currency, Bitcoin's pseudonymous creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, referred to it as a new electronic cash system that's fully peer-to-peer, with no trusted third party. The key thing to understand here is that Bitcoin merely uses blockchain as a means to transparently record a ledger of payments, but blockchain can, in theory, be used to immutably record any number of data points. As discussed above, this could be in the form of transactions, votes in an election, product inventories, state identifications, deeds to homes, and much more. Blockchain versus banks. Blockchains have been heralded as being a disruptive force to the finance sector, and especially with the functions of payments and banking. To see how a bank differs from blockchain, let's compare the banking system to Bitcoin's implementation of blockchain. Hours open. Typical brick and mortar banks are open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays. Some banks are open on weekends but with limited hours. All banks are closed on banking holidays. No set hours, open 24/7, 365 days a year. Transaction fees. Card payments. This fee varies based on the card and is not paid by the user directly. Fees are paid to the payment processors by stores and are usually charged per transaction. The effect of this fee can sometimes make the cost of goods and services rise. Checks can cost between $1 and $30 depending on your bank. ACH transfers can cost up to $3 when sending to external accounts. Wire. Outgoing domestic wire transfers can cost as much as $25. Outgoing international wire transfers can cost as much as $45. Bitcoin has variable transaction fees determined by miners and users. This fee can range between $0 and $50, but users have the ability to determine how much of a fee they are willing to pay. This creates an open marketplace where if the user sets their fee too low, their transaction may not be processed. Transaction speed. Card payments, 24 to 48 hours. Checks, 24 to 72 hours to clear. ACH, 24 to 48 hours. Wire, within 24 hours unless international. Bank transfers are typically not processed on weekends or bank holidays. Bitcoin transactions can take as little as 15 minutes and as much as over an hour depending on network congestion. Know your customer rules. Bank accounts and other banking products require Know Your Customer (KYC) procedures. This means it is legally required for banks to record a customer's identification prior to opening an account. Anyone or anything can participate in Bitcoin's network with no identification. In theory, even an entity equipped with artificial intelligence could participate. Ease of transfers. Government-issued identification, a bank account, and a mobile phone are the minimum requirements for digital transfers. An internet connection and a mobile phone are the minimum requirements. Privacy. Bank account information is stored on the bank's private servers and held by the client. Bank account privacy is limited to how secure the bank's servers are and how well the individual user secures their own information. If the bank's servers were to be compromised, then the individual's account would be as well. Bitcoin can be as private as the user wishes. All Bitcoin is traceable, but it is impossible to establish who has ownership of Bitcoin if it was purchased anonymously. If Bitcoin is purchased on a KYC exchange, then the Bitcoin is directly tied to the holder of the KYC exchange account. Security. Assuming the client practices solid internet security measures like using secure passwords and two-factor authentication, a bank account's information is only as secure as the bank's server that contains client account information. The larger the Bitcoin network grows, the more secure it gets. The level of security a Bitcoin holder has with their own Bitcoin is entirely up to them. For this reason, it is recommended that people use cold storage for larger quantities of Bitcoin or any amount that is intended to be held for a long period of time. Approved transactions. Banks reserve the right to deny transactions for a variety of reasons. Banks also reserve the right to freeze accounts. If your bank notices purchase in unusual locations or for unusual items, they can be denied. The Bitcoin network itself does not dictate how Bitcoin is used in any shape or form. Users can transact Bitcoin how they see fit but should also adhere to the guidelines of their country or region. Account seizures. Due to KYC laws, governments can easily track people's bank accounts and seize the assets within them for a variety of reasons. If Bitcoin is used anonymously, governments would have a hard time tracking it down to seize it.